Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another RSCast. We are in the week 2 recap now. It's been a bit of a late start. I was working last night, taking my patients to Blackpool. They had fun, and we're here to have fun tonight. Unfortunately, it is a bit delayed. We had some problems with the graphics. That's all fixed with our Mr. Automator in the middle, and that is Senji.
Hello. Sorry from my side for the little bit of a delay, but it should all be fine now and working properly.
And next to Senji, we've got the one who doesn't stop speaking in the server, and he doesn't stop speaking on RSCast either. It is Mr. Boopy.
Wow, it's me again. I love to talk. I love to voice my opinions, and here I am. It's going to be a big one. Week 2. What a weekend. I'm just ready to get into it.
Yeah, ready to get into it indeed. We won't waste any of your time. We will head straight into Prospect. And Boopy, I'll come to you first. What did you notice this week on the Glacis side of things?
Well, Glacies, top 2 teams for me, Kindling and Exelon. They both won both their series this week. The only 2 teams to do so. Exelon helped a little bit by a forfeit against Cairo, but they took down Digestives and pretty solid showing from them. Kindling facing off. They also got a forfeit themselves against Micro Faction, but taking down Cardinals as well. 4th place, so solid stuff from them this week.
Yeah, and Senji, in the Ignis side of things, another solid week for Mages going from strength to strength.
Oh, definitely. I mean, again, they had a 6-2 week, just like the first week, just showing how consistent they are now over 2 weeks. And as well, Prelude with a great showing. A little bit of a better week than last week, but in total, being able to be on pair with Mages in total wins. So definitely great showing from those teams. And I gotta say, looking across conference, interesting to see that in Prospect, Glacis seems to be a little bit of the stronger side with both cross conference games being a sweep for Glacis.
Indeed, and speaking of good weeks, I just want to focus on Tartaros for a minute. It's not often we get to look at your team, Senji. So while they've gone 5-3 this week, they've had a really solid week, and it looks like it's continuing into this week as well. With the live update result that you might want to mention.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Tartaros I don't think they've played this week so far, but um, they are headed into the right direction, and I will mention a live result later on in Challenger.
Oh, it was Challenger. I thought it was Prospect.
Yeah.
Apologies for that, but yeah, 2 teams not doing so well low this season. Hot Metal and Digestives, both 1 and 7 this week, so they'll definitely be looking to pick up in the following weeks. But we will go to the Prospect standings in Glacis and Boopy. What can you tell us on this side?
Well, yeah, Kindling and Exelon, they've kind of secured their spot top of the conference. It has gone to goal difference, both sitting on 13 wins. And then Bing, a little bit lower. Teams we really have to be worried about at the moment are going to be Cairo and Gemini Storm sitting there. Only 4 wins. Quite bad goal difference as well, so they need to make some changes and start climbing their way up the table. But solid stuff from Kindling and Exelon.
Yeah, Caro have actually got rid of all their roster today, I think, as well. So they are looking to rebuild. I know they're doing tryouts right now. But do you think this top 4 is kind of set? I think this may have been the top 4 that we predicted. Maybe Oberon getting into there as well, but it seems like we predicted right so far.
Yeah, I think it'll pretty much stay where it is. Cardinals might be taking Bing. They might go up a spot. We'll see. I think they have had quite a rough start, but top 4 pretty solid. Bottom 4, I think will stay pretty similar as well. So I think the standings are kind of evening out at the moment. The only thing really is that begs to be asked is who's going to be securing that first spot? Will it be Kindling or will it be Exelon? Because they are tied currently due to goal difference, and we'll just have to see who out of those 2 teams kind of takes off and secures that top spot.
Yeah, Kindling did beat Exelon 3-1 in the first week, so they've obviously dropped games to allow Exelon to bring that back. So it is a solid start from both teams. And going off the announcement that we made a couple of days ago, do not forget that 3rd to 6th now get in the cross-conference play-ins as well. There is a semi-final and a final, so all to play for in these divisions. But Senji, who's in the top 6 in Ignis this week?
I mean, currently, I would say especially interesting is the top 4 again, with Mages and Preludes being away from Terra and Orbit, following them. And then there's not quite a top 6 because 5th, 6th, and 7th all have the same amount of wins. So I think this is more of top 7 that we're looking at currently in Ignis, but obviously with potential for every one of those teams to be able to fall down out of those top 6 until the end of the season.
Indeed, indeed. But as we mentioned earlier, Hot Metal and Digestives just propping up the table there with 4 and 2 wins. They'll be looking to get up the table this week, and we will show those fixtures as well. The week 3 schedule. Boopy, what games can you pick out for me this week?
Well, one I want to see is Prelude versus Mages 100%. Prelude have had an insane week, 4-0ing my team, a team I thought was very, very strong. And they find themselves second at the moment. So, Prelude versus Mages, first versus second, the battle of who is better in Ignis. That is going to be a strong one for me. And Exelon versus Cardinals, I also want to have a cheeky look at as well, because Exelon's sitting quite high, but Cardinals, they were predicted first in the power rankings. So I think that will be a really, really good match.
Yeah, 100%. And we are getting pointed into the chat to Bing versus Kindling. Is that one of the games you were looking at, Senju?
Definitely. I mean, when you have game first versus third, then that definitely is one of the games to look at. But apart from that, what I'm also going to be very curious in is how the cross conference is going to present itself this week. We have, luckily, 2 matchups that are around about in the same area of the table, in Terra being third and Cardinals being fourth, matching up together, and then Fearless Bravo being fifth versus Tartarus who are seventh, matching up. So the luck on having a little bit of a balance there, games that could be potentially. I would say it's going to be very interesting, and also to see if the Glacis dominance is going to keep on, or if Ignis this time in Prospect is going to come back and say, nope, we're not the weekly conference.
Absolutely. I'm going to be looking at those games quite a lot as well, because last week I think was a little bit misleading. It was Hot Metal and Digestives. They're currently 8th and 9th in Ignis. So it's going to be a real showing this week as to whether Glacis is really, really strong and stronger than Ignis, or whether that's not the case.
Well, as we get on to Hot Metal, a news report has just come in, a score report of Overturn 0, Hot Metal 4. So we did say that they needed to up the game this week, and they've already gone out and got the first sweep of the week in Prospect, as well as Micah Faction beating Caro 4-0 as well. The other shock result was Prelude 3, Mages 1. Prelude beating the favourites for the Ignis conference, so a very surprise result there. But we'll go into the Challenger Week 2 results now, and I'll let you take control of Glacis this time, Senji. What 2 games can you pick out for us here?
Obviously, now that we're in the Challenger, I feel like I need to mention the great week Orcus had. Because obviously they had a terrible first week, going 1-7, but they've stood up, come back, and have now had a 7-1 week. And I remember one of the players being like, "Oh no, I've thrown the game. We could have gone 8-0." And me as GM, knowing that they had the 1-7 week, I just went in like, "Lads, you've made a 7-1 week. Be happy about it. Don't worry about that game." But yeah, so congratulations to the team there again. Apart from that, I gotta say, I found it very interesting how Epsilon, being currently one of the best teams in this Glacis conference, was able to drop a game to Nezuko Gang that then again got swept by the Crusaders. So the Glacis challenger side seems to be very open for everyone at the moment.
Yeah, and we'll head to Ignis with you, Boopy, and I just want to point over to Chorus because they're doing really well in this league right now.
Absolutely. Chorus, what a week for that from them. 4-0 sweep of overall and a 3-1 against Yahoo cross-conference game. Second in the conference, Yahoo. And they look like a really, really strong team, fit together quite well. Chorus, obviously the winners of the preseason tournament as well on top of that. Solid performance from them. Currently find themselves third, but then again, looking at the standings, it is joint third. So it is down to goal difference, but they are definitely one of the teams to beat in Ignis at the moment.
Yeah, Tomo's doing bits on that roster. We saw on the stream against Overrule. I think he absolutely carried that series. There's no denying that.
Absolutely.
And to get a 2-2 draw against Neptunium as well, who caused a game 2 forfeit tonight in the series, winning 4-0 against Parthenace, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes all the more solid results for Chorus. But just want to mention Scorn as well, rebuilding the roster. What can you tell us about that new roster, Booper? Because it's got the
Oh,
whispers in the server of this one, hasn't it?
well, I'm a big fan of talking in the Discord, and a lot of people have been talking about this Scorn. Little bit of a roster change. Personally, I cannot see them dropping a series to any person in Challenger at the moment. I definitely think they're the strongest team. I think they're one of the ones that they're just gonna kind of destroy the tier. And Archeon, I don't know how you've managed to get Frizz and Neil from Fearless, obviously being transferred over, but what a roster, and I just see them taking it all the way, to be honest.
We do have to mention that they were bottom of the table this week, and until we got Frizz and Neil from Fearless, totally thanks to Masters as well. He let them go without holding them hostage, if you get me. But yeah, 4-0
Yeah,
sweep in the first game, dominated scrims, so I'm hoping that they climb the table now. But at the end of the
absolutely.
day, this is what I thought in draft when I was getting Zuckro as well, and that didn't work out, so anything can happen in this league. But we'll head to the standings, and we stick with Glacis. What can you tell me, Senja?
Well, we see that all the teams in the, let me say, top 6, 7 again are quite close to each other. And I feel like Orcus played Atlas today, able to sweep. So going back to what we said or what I said before, it's open for everyone. And seeing that Scorn now also is coming from the bottom of the table back up there, it just makes the field wide open for everyone. And Epsilon is looking maybe a little bit afraid at the top there at that huge competition they have.
Yeah, 100%. We have had quite a lot of results in the past few days from the Challenger division. We will see those in the fixtures in a minute, but we'll head to Ignis and Boopy. Tell me what you see.
Well, I've got to mention my team at the top there, Neptunium. Doing very, very well. Obviously, Chorus also tied with them, trying to fight for that top spot. They have been a really good team. They have had a lot of results. And then kind of trickling down to the bottom, we have Party Rings and Parthenaise. And you can just tell from the goal difference there, a minus 27, minus 28, that something needs a change, maybe a coach working with them. But they're leaking a lot of goals and they're not scoring many as well. So they definitely need a few things to work on. But yeah, in general, it's pretty spread. I mean, it goes from 2 wins at the bottom to 12 at the top. The three-way tie at the top, 2 tie in the middle. But apart from that, pretty spread table.
Yeah, I think you can split this table into 3. I think it's the first time I've actually seen 3 teams ahead this much on joint wins as well. Amazing that there's 75% win percentages here, and if I was to guess the fixtures, I'm sure one of these are going to clash this week. I know Chorus played Neptunium and drew 2-2 last week. But yeah, it seems to be a battle between 4th and 7th and 8th and 9th at the moment in those splits. Let's look at the schedule and see if we were correct. We'll stay with you, Boopy, on Ignis. Is there any that tickle your fancy this week?
Well, I definitely want to see how Yahoo perform this week. Obviously, they lost 3-1 to Chorus last week.
No, that was last night.
That was last night.
That was cross conference last night. 3-1 loss.
Okay. I've leaked too much. Well, a 3-1 loss kind of shows Ignis a little bit stronger then, as Yahoo sitting second but losing in that cross conference. So I'd be interested to see a few more Ignis games, maybe Pyromancers versus Overall, Neptunium versus Pyromancers will also be a good game. Stuff like that.
Yeah, we do have to mention that Twisted wasn't on that roster last night. So, first time that they've not had that full roster, and it goes in a loss. And this is what happens when you have to play your substitute for 20% of times as well, or getting an FA in. It can unbalance the roster. But Senji, what can you tell us in Glacis?
In Glacis, we've got a very interesting game in Crusaders versus Epsilons, first versus third. And then we've also had a few games already being played. For example, Nezuko Gang has beaten Spark by 3-1. Then we also had I think Neptunium. No, that's the other conference. My bad. And then the aforementioned Orcus beating Atlas 4-0. Not sure if the Scorn versus Epsilon game got reported or not, because I don't see it at the moment.
It's a reschedule. It's Sunday now, I think.
Okay. But yeah, those are the results that have already taken place, and I'm also going to be interested to see how Masai is trying to bounce back from their rather weak start they've had in the first 2 weeks. With Yahoo and Atlas, they've got two relatively strong teams opposing them, but I hope for them it's going to be a little bit better than before.
Did you roll around to your own team, Orcus beating Atlas 4-0?
I did roll around to that. I just tried to keep it a little bit low, but it was a great thing to happen.
I just want to let you get in this magical week while you can.
Thank you.
Let's go to minor, though. The minor week 2 results. And unfortunately, Senji, we can't carry on that batch of good results here. Tell us what's going on in Glacis.
Well, obviously, we have the very strong teams at the top taking it from the teams not at the top. For example, Safari being able to beat Erebos this week. Then big player in this tier, Toxin, with you on the roster, going with a 6-2 week, 4-0 versus the second place currently, and a 2-2 versus the third place. So a hard week for you guys, but you were able to manage to get a 6-2. So congrats.
Yeah, we went out with something to prove on stream. Both casters predicted us to lose, and I think people forget that me and Dodge have been major players, and we won 4-0 in that one. But Safari, though, in our second game, brilliant team. Always rate Ancelo's teams. And another team that surprises me in this conference is Prominence. One that was rated so highly in pre-season, just not clicking as a team right now. Going 2-6. Boopy, do you know much about this roster?
Not really.
Well, you stole one of the players to put into major sub.
Well, I did. Apparently, there was a lot kind of behind the scenes not really working out. So they did get rid of that player. It's not really working out for them so far as well, with a 2-2 and a 0-4. But hopefully they will be reworking and trying to work on a solution and battle their way up the table.
Yeah, and Senji, I hope you pick up your results, because I predicted you to be dark horses in this tier, and I don't know what's going on right now. You got Mickey, come on.
Yeah, right. Mickey is a great solid. Like, he's the one, you put the ball somewhere up front and out of nowhere he comes along and scores it. Problem is, I am on that team. So it doesn't work out.
Fair. We'll go to Ignis, though, and Boopy, what results stood out for you this week?
I have to mention Uranium, 6-2 week. and they 3-1 the Sorcerers, securing that second spot. Sorcerers, obviously a team they played together last season as Bio, and losing out to Uranum in that second spot, they really did want to secure that. So that's kind of what I picked out from that side. Also, Overkill having an insane week, 4-0 in Custard Creams, 3-1 against Concerto. A bit of an easy week for them. They face 7th and 8th currently in the standings, but they find themselves on top, and a really good showing from them.
Yeah, and Senji, apparently Arena Tribe went 7-1 this week. After a disappointing first week, I think they went 2-6.
Yep.
What do you think of that rise up the table?
I think that is exactly what such a first week can do to you when you're not having the best first week and then go on all out week 2 and show the world you can do it. And I think also one of the points helping them out is they had it's hard, it's not nice to say, but they had the easiest week possible. In a way of they were able to face the 9th place in Glacies and they were able to face the 9th place in Ignis. So they had a little bit of luck with their cross-conference game here, but they managed to pull it off. You can't just have an easy week and play like before and lose. So big ups to Arena Tribe for taking the opportunity and taking advantage of it. Definitely well done. And I'm looking forward to how they are going to face versus maybe a little bit stronger teams.
Yeah, we'll see those fixtures soon, but in the Glacis standings, Boopy, what do you make of this one?
Wow, what a match we had versus Toxin and Hydra. Hydra obviously having an 8-0 week last week, not last season. Taking that first spot, and Toxin have taken it back. So Toxin sitting at the top, Hydra being knocked down into that second spot. Safari as well, strong team, but Arena Tribe, after that poor week in week 1, battling their way up, they have found themselves in 4th. And then Erebus and Prominence not having the best weeks, finding themselves 8th and 9th. But it is quite close at the top, and I'm excited to see how it kind of plays out in the next few weeks, who starts flying up in first spot and who's actually going to take second spot for themselves, because it is a tie at the moment between Hydra and Safari.
Yeah, we don't do this often, but I'd like to give a shout out for sportsmanship of the week as well. Vanguards could have found themselves 8-8 this week. Hydra did actually play a series without posting a sub until 20 minutes late, and Vanguards got beat fair and square at 3-1 and decided, you know what, they beat us fair and square, we won't take the forfeit, we'll give them the win. So Hydra could have been sitting in 5th if they hadn't have got that win. So a very well done to Vanguards for allowing that to go ahead. But we don't see that often. And we'll go to Ignis though. And Senji, what can you tell us in this conference?
Here we see 4 teams at the top that are very stable and very strong, and they've already established after 2 weeks, after 16 games, they've already established a gap of 4 games to the lower side. And especially one team I and you guys in the prediction did not expect to see here, and that is Montbéliard. I obviously, as GM of Hecky and Punky for 2 seasons, I know how good they were in prospect, but I did not expect to see them that good in minor, and I'm very happy about it. Then we have Overkill, Uranium, and Sorcerers, who are just very strong teams in of itself. I've played Uranium today, which was a rather unfortunate meetup, which we'll come to later, but they are strong teams and they definitely deserve to be here.
Yeah, Montbéliard very strong mechanically. They were one of the teams that we found easier to scrim in pre-season, which is why they were so low at the start. But maybe Hecky's one of them, and Punky, where they just up the game against better players. And I know Hecky liked subbing up in each tier, and now he's finally promoted himself from prospect to minor, and maybe he's got that confidence now, because that roster is definitely clicking recently, and I didn't expect it, and I'll admit that. One thing I did expect was the roster issues with custard creams. We predicted him around 5th or 6th, and we see World leave to go to Saturnia. One of the many transfers to Saturnia, might we add, in Major. I think that roster's been rebuilt about 20,000 times in the space of 2 weeks.
Six times, yeah.
But yeah, they found themselves 7th, and they'll be looking to put that right. I know they're looking at new players right now, so we'll go to minor fixtures. And Boopy, we'll start with you, Iglesias.
Wow, we've already heard about the cross-conference Uranum versus Erebos. Ones I am quite looking forward to is Sorcerers versus Overkill. Sorcerers, kind of voted as the team that would take Minor early on. And Overkill now sitting in first. So I want to see how they do against Sorcerers, one of those top teams. And also Arena Tribe as well versus Toxin. That's going to be a huge match. Arena Tribe not having the best first week, having a nice and easy second week, but I think they really can step up to the plate. So it's going to be interesting to watch how that match unfolds.
Yeah, the player to watch in that series is definitely Kairu. We've scrimmed him, and the mechanics that he pulls off is really, really solid. I think it's going to be a tough match. Same with Safari as well last week. But Senji, what do you make of the Ignis conference? We do see in chat that Custard Creams had a 5-3 week against Montbéliard and Fearless Echo. So despite roster issues, that is a good performance. But what about the other games for the rest of the week?
Well, only time could tell that it would be a 5-3 week for Costa Creams, which definitely is a big up from their previous performance. But apart from that, I am going to be very much looking forward to the Sorcerers versus Overkill game tomorrow, because that is first versus third again, and then also for Sorcerers, a very interesting week having to face off Montbéliard being fourth. So those are probably the two most interesting games this week in Ignis from both from the Sorcerer's side.
Indeed. And before we do head to Major, I just want to catch up on the results coming in. Kindling 3, Oberon 1, Limousine 2, Digestives 2, Terror 3, Cardinals 1. Didn't expect that after the series that they lost against Prelude, but Cardinals having another disappointing result. That's the prospect for you. In minor, we have Ember 2, Hydra 2. So Hydra go in top, but drop in 2 games. And in major, we have Genesis 2, Thanatos 2, and Rhapsody 3, Meteor 1. So they are your up-to-date results tonight.
And
we'll
Blaze 3 and Prometheus. Oh, you said that, my bad.
No worries. In major, I'll start with you, Senji, on the Glacis side.
Yep. So here we've had a pretty interesting week overall. Or what I was very curious about is how Thanatos was able to match up to Gladiators, the current top side. They were able to get a draw out of it, and then Gladiators came down on Venom with a 3-1. So good week by Gladiators as well. Zulu going with the 7-1 week, definitely upping the game from the 5-3 they had last week. And yeah, those were probably the most prominent games. Then also in the cross conference, this time it's a draw basically. Blaze was able to beat Fearless Delta from Ignis, and Ignis in form of Anshu were able to get back to Glacis and beat Genesis.
Yeah, and Boopy, what have you noticed in the major tier this week?
Well, Saturnia, we spoke about all those roster changes. They're not finding themselves too high on the table at the moment, but a decent result from them against Anjo, sitting at second. Sorry, 2-2 against Saturnia. So that shows things might be on the up. And Jammy Dodgers 2-2ing Overtake, bit of a standard result. Bladesmiths, however, they got a 2-2 against Necromancers, who are sitting at sixth. Bladesmiths obviously being third at the moment. So not the best result from them. They may be potentially dropping down the table in the future.
Yeah, Bladesmiths keep finding themselves going 4-4 and 5-3. It's been a strange 2 weeks for them, seeing as they were the predicted favourites for Ignis. But mentioning Jammy Dodgers, they did play one of those series where they got a draw with two minors. So a solid week for them going 4-4 without playing their 1630 player yet. I don't think he's played at all. So
No, not at all.
yeah. One team I want to mention though that you touched on is Anju. I really didn't see this team clicking, didn't see the chemistry working, but somehow, Hex with his defensive playstyle allows Fane and Bolt to and Mash to roam around and do what they want, and it seems to be clicking much like Montbelliard in minor. So, a huge props to them.
Mm.
We go to Glacis though, and Senji. What do you see in the table here?
We see a dominant three this time with Gladiator, Zulu, and Megaman Cult separating themselves from the second pack, Prometheus, Thanatos. And I gotta say, I'm happy that we've decided to include the play-ins to go to sixth. I think that makes league play in a sense way more attractive for teams that are currently maybe sitting at lower end like Venom or Genesis. But then if you look at the games, they are merely 1 and 3 games away from those potential spots. So very interesting.
And we head over to Ignis and Boopy. What can you tell us on this side? We've already spoke about Andrew being predicted low and being second right now. Does that shock you as well?
Well, it does, yeah. They have had really good performance. I did rate them as a team when they had Lovely Cans. Then they lost Lovely Cans quite early on, and I didn't really see where they would place, but sitting in second right now, and there's a lot of ties on this table as well. There's the ties for first place, going to goal difference. There's three in the middle, all 8-8. And also at the bottom there, Fearless Delta and Jammy Dodgers sitting on 7-9 as well. So three ties in this table, very, very close. And 1-4-0 would put you from the bottom right to the top. So it's quite a tight table, this one.
Yeah, we see this in quite a lot of seasons. It's been like this for the last 2 or 3 seasons in a lot of conferences and tables. I think it's just as close in Glacies as well. So let's see what fixtures determine the tables next week. And Senja will come to you. What 2 games can you pick out for me?
One game that definitely was a great game. I am currently not quite sure what the result was, but Zulu versus Gladiators, first versus second going at it. That definitely was a great game. Then
Zulu swept Gladiators.
Oh, that
Yeah.
makes it even more interesting. Nice. Then maybe not that good of a game by Gladiators. Then gonna be interesting to see how the Gladiators are gonna be able to bounce back from that sweep versus Blaze a little bit later in the week. Also, I gotta say, in Glacis, I see many games that are relatively bigly separated between where the people stand or where the teams stand in the standings. So definitely going to be in maybe sweep heavy week in places.
Yeah, and you did mention Blaze. They were predicted to be first in this conference, but they've just recently swept Delta 4-0 after such a bad start. And they've also won tonight against Prometheus 3-1 as well. So 7-1 in the last 2 games, definitely looking to rise up the table. But what about you, Boopy? What games can you pick out this week?
Well, I definitely want to watch the Zulu game cross conference. I think that's going to be a good one. Zulu definitely looking like the team to beat for me. Gladiators last week having an 8-0 week. They looked really strong, but then coming in being swept today by by Zulu. I think Zulu is going to be one of the teams to beat in this tier. Also, I want to see how Jammy Dodgers face off against Anju. I think Anju have had a few lower opponents and they do draw a lot. So I want to see how good Andrew really is and whether they're going to stay second of Ignis for very long.
One thing about Jammy Dodgers, though, I would like to know why their highest player isn't playing. It's such a weird tactic to not go in with your 16-30 player, and knowing Cristiano last season, he got so many results for my team in 2 leagues, so I just wonder why that roster isn't playing together right now.
Yeah, it's weird. Maybe there might be some scheduling issues there, or maybe they just see, maybe just they just don't need him. They just want to take on the league and use him when they need him.
Yeah, and we head to Elite now, and Senju will start off with you in the Glacis tier, Glacis conference.
Absolutely. So, in this conference, obviously, Hades got predicted third, and although they have had 2 positive weeks, I think, no, 1 negative and 1 positive, I think they could do better overall. So, not that happy with how they've played so far. On the other hand, though, someone like Louis must be very happy with his team. Titan going with a 6-2 week after a 5-3 week, so good performances by Titan. Then Dogon was able to get swept, and then thanks to an FF win, still get some 4 games, which was the whole total they had in the first week. So I hope to see a little bit more from some teams in this conference, but overall, what has been expected in this week has come to fruition a bit.
Yeah, Titan doing really well right now. I think they've just beat. I think they played yesterday and beat Dogon 4-0. So definitely a team to watch, going 10-2 over the last 3 series. But Boopy, what have you seen over on the other side?
Well, on the other side, the bright other side, Phoenix, I do have to congratulate having a really good week. They still find themselves second, predicted ninth as well. They are joint first, technically holding on for dear life with their 7 goal difference. But Phoenix have had a decent week. Nocturne as well. They've had a little bit of an easy week. They played against Chianina, who is 8th, and they played against Oracles and got a 2-2. But Oracles in preseason making it to the semi-final. So still a strong team nonetheless. And yeah, also IOV have had a good week. And those top 3 at the top of the table are looking very strong.
Yeah, and Ren won't leave us alone about his 9th prediction. Yes, Phoenix are doing really well, and we won't let it go, Ren. The 2-time winner of RSC will be mentioned. Don't worry about that one. We will see the Glacier standings, though. And as we spoke about Titan, they've overtook Rias into first. Let's start with you, Senju.
Absolutely, and that with a staggering goal difference of 21 plus. I don't think I've seen such a high goal difference so far after merely 2 weeks. So their offensive machinery seems to be working very fine, and their defense seems to be very strong. But then after that, we've got a fairly close midfield after Titan and Rios. Just 1 game behind, we find Diamond Dust. And then in a total of 2 games, we find 4 more teams in Google Chrome, Carnage, Hades, and Dogon. So again, it's a very close thing in Glacis this season.
Yeah, 2 results that I know of that came in yesterday. It was Rias Legion 4, Google Chrome 0, and Carnage 3, Hades 1. So Rias and Carnage moving up a little bit, and Google Chrome and Hades getting a bit of losses onto their side, along with Dogon getting swept by Titan. So it's looking like it's becoming a split conference this between the top 5 and the bottom 4 with this week's results. But we'll head to you, Boopit, in Ignis.
Yeah. Well, again, quite a close table. Apart from the bottom, I mean, the difference between 8th and 1st is only really 5 games. So a couple of good series, a good week will take you so far up the table. But again, we have that draw at the top. Nocturne and Phoenix both sitting on 11 wins. IOV, they've been very good throughout the season, just kind of getting 3-1, staying around that third spot. And Asteroid, Jaffa Cakes, Overwatch, and Oracles all looking to push up, as well as Chianina, who are a strong team. And then we see Fearless Alpha at the bottom there, 3 wins to their name, minus 30 goal difference. It's not looking good for them, and they really need to pick things up.
Yeah, definitely. As we head to the fixtures for this week and seeing who can pick up results, Senji, what do you notice about the teams that need to get results this week?
I mean, as you mentioned before, obviously Hades already lost, so I would imagine that there should be a win in there against Rias Legion. But Rias Legion is one of the highest teams, so that's going to be different. Then Dogon is going to have a different week going up against Titan, and then later on Carnage, also two very strong teams. Then we have Centurions who definitely want to come back from the horrible first 2 weeks they've had, and they get to play in a cross conference game versus the second team in the Ignis conference and the third team in the Glacis conference. So even though they definitely want some wins this week, they're gonna have a hard week.
Yeah, and what about you, Boopy? What results? What fixtures do you think people need to pick up results here?
Well, I've got my eyes heavily glued on Iovi this week. They have two strong matches. They're playing second and fourth, and that could really decide whether they stay in that third spot or kind of go higher or lower. We'll have to see. It's going to be interesting games. Another one is I love my cross conference matches. I'm gonna be watching Phoenix versus Centurions, seeing how that goes, um, and as well as Chianina versus Titan. I think both cross conference are going to be very good this week.
I'm just focusing on the Inferno games. They've not been doing too well. They are four mates playing with one another, but playing both of your games against third and like the team that were fourth or fifth before that sweep yesterday. Can that affect your mentality if one result goes wrong?
Well, yeah, if you have a bad result, then you kind of get stuck in a rut, and Inferno find themselves kind of in a rut at the moment, sitting there eighth. They were predicted fifth. They are still a strong team, facing off against Diamond Dust, not the easiest opponent. Neither is Google Chrome, so they are going to have another rough week. But we're going to have to see how they perform against those two opponents and whether they can start clawing their way back up the table.
Yeah, and we go to the big one now. It's the Premier Week 2 results, and just look at those results. It's so close in this tier at the end of Week 2. Senji, will start off with you.
Yeah, I mean, having 4 out of 5 games being a 2-2 draw just shows how close and competitive this tier actually is. And that was what we wanted to see, and it is what we get to see. So I'm very glad how this is turning out.
Yeah, it was what we got to see until the last 2 days. Bear in mind, the first 2 games that we've seen have been sweeps. So it has opened the table up a lot. But we will see the table before those 2 games here. And Boopy, what can you tell me apart from how close it is?
Apart from how close it is, well, 4 teams at the top. Obviously, it is going to be close because of the little amount of games. But Vibin, a team, I think personally are one of the best in Premier, sitting at second at the moment, tied with Flame. Seeing them face off will be interesting. I think we have a result we will be mentioning from that game shortly, but then as well, Oreos, they are sitting at the bottom. They need a little bit of a miracle to try and miracle series to try and pull them out of the depths up the table.
And speaking of that miracle series, they did get that against Null today. They did sweep them 4-0. Kizzy messaged me after the game saying despite losing 4-0, it was one of the funnest games that they've had and it was all really close. So I'm glad they're enjoying it despite losing. But it's much needed from Oreos. There was only 2 game difference between top and bottom at the end of the week, but winning 4-0 just puts them up there with Vibing after beating Flame 4-0 as well. But Senji, what about the other 3 games for the rest of the week? Who are you looking forward to the most?
Um, Honestly, I don't have a particular favorite that I'm looking for. I'm just more curious in how this premier team is going to develop. Because as you've said before, we've had a week with basically only draws, and now we've started this week with two sweeps. So I'm more interested in, is it going to continue with sweeps, or are they going to go back to draws?
We shall certainly see, but we go to the franchise standings now, and we've got Mr. Boopy himself on the RSCast again with his team top again. And we brushed over it a little bit last week, so go on, Boopy, let's hear you.
Oh, I can say my bit. Wow. It was a very clutch this week. We had an 0-4 as our second last result, lost it. We needed a 2-2 to draw with goal difference, and we did do it, sitting in that top spot. But you will mention it is you will see it is very close. So there are 4 franchises, 48 wins, all gone to goal difference, and I think this week is going to be the week that people start pulling apart. Some franchises will go more ahead, and some will drop down. So I think this is going to be an interesting week to look at the standings. But it's not very good for confectionery at the moment, sitting there at 18th.
Definitely not, and they've had their AGM leave, who does a lot of the work for them as well, so they're rooted to the bottom and looking at roster changes. I know they brought Elusive in as the AGM now, but there's a few teams here that top performers usually and find themselves around mid-table. You're looking at your Lunas, your Symbiotes, Waifu Fan Club, Override, Fort Templar. I know Friday won't be pleased with 9th right now. He'll be looking to push up the standings, and definitely Ignite as well. So a rocky 2 weeks for these teams. Roster changes have followed, and let's see what happens in the next few weeks. But let's go back to our caster screens, and now it's time for the clip of the week, guys. And although this montage has been put together, I still haven't watched it yet. Although I did see one goal that I would gamble my mortgage on it winning. So should we jump straight into it?
Looking forward. I haven't seen a single one.
We will do the guest after the clip of the week and fail of the week, seeing as we're running behind.
Yeah.
So let's go straight into it.
Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth. It's such a shame that it fell out of place. Was never me that was bringing you down. Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Why we always looking for more? Always looking for more.
And there we have it, guys. Can you guess the one that I said I put my mortgage on yet in the chat?
Definitely.
But-
Game 3 from Mickey Boy in Erebos. We may be not winning. We may be not winning any games, but at least we can win clip of the week.
I don't know about that one, Senji. I'm not sure.
Senji starts the season with top 10 franchise standings as his target. Now it's just goal of the week, and he's happy. Gotta love it.
So everyone, make sure to vote for goal 3.
I think personally, everyone should vote for goal 2, as it was an overtime scorer that brought it back to 4-4, and we did go on to win that game. So I think goal 2 is definitely the one to vote for.
Well, my favourite was goal 5. I don't usually tell people what to vote for, like you just have, but let's go for it. Goal 5, boys. It reminded me of Destiny's goal in season 6. It's a double touch, beats 2 defenders on the line, and just goes straight in. You have
But
about a minute left to vote for the winner. But Senju, was the Cookser pinch your favourite, or was that just bias?
No, that was definitely bias. I gotta say, if I wouldn't know teams and or card designs, I think I probably myself would have gone as well for game 5. But you have to bring the bias a little bit out to win something. Although it doesn't seem to work currently.
you've got to persuade the stream, and they don't seem very persuaded at the moment. But I have to admit that goal 5 was nutty.
I just have an update. A very important one. I've got a DM from our very own Danny Boy. No taste. Goal 3 was the best. So definitely everyone you've heard it.
We know how Danny likes his high standard games, and I'm not sure Mickey would be involved in that, but he likes the Cookser pinch, so vote for goal 3, guys. You've heard it from Danny Boy first, unless you want roasting. You've just got about 10 seconds left, guys.
It's going to be clutch.
And the results are in, and it's Uranium with 10 votes. I hope the Boopy bias didn't sway this one.
I hope it did.
A Reboss second with 5. Rhapsody and Blaze tied with 3. I'm surprised that Blaze didn't get it, but it might have been because it bounced. And Cardinals with 1 vote. So congratulations to Uranium. And I think the scorer of that was Axlos. Or was it Turtle? I think he put both names, didn't he? I think Axlos hit it down into Turtle. So congratulations to Turtle on getting that equalising goal and the winner of Clip of the Week. But we have got a fail.
Wrote me. Everyone that's voted for game 2, please send a DM to Danny so he knows who to roast next time. That's all.
I went down to Minor to avoid the Danny roast, so leave me alone.
Damn.
But yeah, we've got a fail of the week this week, and it's not necessarily a fail of the week clip. We have got a clip for it, but I describe this as a fail of the week series. A series that was a fail. And I'm just going to play it quickly because you're not going to believe it when we tell you what happened in this series. Here we go. Okay, so I'll give you all a little bit of context. This was second versus third, or first versus third in the prospect tier. Terra, great first week. Won the first series in the second week. Storming predictions because we predicted him 6th because of Yannick's bad availability. And he's dying to prove us wrong. And then in that game there, you see the clip, there is no cower level, hits it back into his own half, and then 2 of their own players chase the ball into their own half, and then allow the opponent to cross it. So there is no cower level, rotates back post to the front post, jumps on the wall, misses the ball, and Yannick can't get back in time. However, that isn't really the fail. This is the fail. It was a 4-game series, obviously. They lost 4-0. However, they had 25 shots. Guess how many goals they scored throughout the series, Senju?
I remember when I subbed up to Elite, he was like, I had 0 shot percentage last week, so my guess for those 23 or 25 shots, I would say, let's give him 2 goals.
Terra had 25 shots and lost 4-0 without scoring a single goal. 25 shots in a Rocket League series and no goals. How? Boopy, I thought you were a coach.
I mean, look, I
This
haven't
is
done a
your
session
team.
with them yet. Okay, allow me. If only we could get Yannick on the RSCast tonight, that would just bring this to another tier, I think.
That Dark is in here with we at Sol like to win clip of the week and fail of the week and franchise standings. So,
Exactly. You know,
but
you
yeah,
know the
I've
vibe.
just never seen that unless a team forfeits. That like I've seen people not score in a series of 2-3 games, but 4 games with 25 shots. Come on now, Yannick. I thought you were better than this. Congratulations or commiserations, however you want to see it, on winning fail of the week. I hope you enjoyed that clip. It was
I
awful
didn't.
to watch for some of us, but I think we get our guest in now, and hopefully he's in a VC waiting.
Oh.
If you aren't, can you join one? There he is. Let's drag him in, and we have a bit of an announcement for you as well regarding one of our franchises in the RSC. We'll get to that soon, but here
Ooh.
is our guest. I'll just make the transition now. It's Mr. Astrix, GM, major player, and staff member of Mod Committee in Stream, and plays for Firefox for Internet Explorers, which is his franchise. Welcome, Astrix.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Coming off a bad loss right now after last night. Just this game we had. So I'm not in the best of moods, but we bounced back from them.
What was the result?
We lost 4-0 to
Ooh.
Oh.
yeah.
To
Not the best of-
Saturnia, the 20,000 roster change team.
Yeah. They beat us 4-0.
Nice.
It's
That's a good
okay,
result.
that happens.
It happens. We bounce back though. Every team does.
Definitely.
Just want to thank
Nope.
Philip B in the chat for the Prime. It's good to see you back here as well. Can't wait to see you on a cast. But I'll go ahead and ask the first question because this links to my franchise, and I think we want to announce it now before there's any slip-ups in the server. I've announced my retirement from GMing as of the end of the season, and I had a lot of candidates who DM'd me to see who wants to take over, and welcome to the new Symbiotes GM as of next season, Astrix, and he'll be joined by Swift as the AGM.
Yeah, that is the plan for next season if I get GM again, hopefully.
So
Which franchise are you gonna take over?
I
He
am
just
gonna
said-
be I'm gonna be taking over Arc, Senji.
Yeah, no, that I know, but the players. Like at the end of the season, or the players that are then.
well,
on your
Symbiotes
franchise.
contracts stick as Symbiotes contracts.
Okay.
Yes, we will. If I do become GM again, I will try and take some of my players with me to Symbiotes as well.
Yeah.
The ones I want to get.
So what made you want to assist me and take over me? Obviously you've only just made IX, so
whoa.
Basically, I've made IX as a joke this season because I didn't know what I wanted to do as my franchise idea. I was in a call with B-Shake and Potter, and I had a random word generator, and that's how I came up with my idea for this season. But I wanted to take over Symbiotes because I wanted an idea to go forward with. So yeah, that's what happened this season with IX. And I saw the opportunity to take over Symbiotes, so I wanted to.
Cool.
Wonderful. That ties perfectly into my question. Are you aware that Yahoo and Bing are no Internet Explorers, but web pages?
Yes, I did know that, Senji. And
Okay,
it's a joke.
good. Just to know that you knew.
I did know that, and that was the aim, to make it a joke at the end of the day, because I wanted to become not a jokey franchise, but I wanted to have fun. That's my aim, to have fun in this league. Like I've been having fun for this league for too long now. Since I signed up to the point now where I've been playing and enjoying it. That's why it was a joke at the end of the day.
Boopy, have you got any questions?
Well, I was gonna ask how are you gonna find it? You're gonna find it stressful next season, Astrix, taking over Archeon's amazing reputation as a GM, one of the best GMs ever to have have been a GM at RSC. Are you going to find it stressful to kind of take over that reputation?
Not really. I took over Fane, and that him being a GM for as long as he has been was another bit of stress. But we got over it, and we improved the franchise and took them up. Because when I took over in week 1 from Fane, we were 14th. So I had to go from 14th, and I think I ended at 7th. Was that right last season? Oh, or
I think you were
Yes, you ended
6th
up
or
at
7th, yeah.
7th is correct.
So yeah, so that was I had a stressful first couple of weeks after taking over from Fane, and I couldn't do it without Axe Loss. Obviously, he's in the chat. He was there by my side, and all the other 2 ICs I had along the way.
And many 2ICs,
I
and
did.
yeah, something that happened recently as well this season. You did a big change to your major roster. I think cutting everyone on your major roster but yourself, and rebuilding. What kind of prompted that decision to do that? Was it just bad results, bad performance?
It was a bit of the bad results and bad performance. Like last season, I had to come in and change up the major roster. I think
Yeah.
that went undefeated in League Play and lost out in the finals. But I wanted to change up because of bad performance and bad results. So yeah.
Well, I would never ever have experience of changing a major roster ever. I've made mine and I've stuck by it. And they've been going strong, but I don't really have many more questions. I'm going to pass it back to the other gentleman to my left.
There is a strong smell of something, Boopy, but I don't know what it is after that statement. But yeah, Astrix, I just want to say thank you for offering to do this as well. It takes a load off my mind as well. You know how much work I do with the admin side of things. So GMing I was going through tryouts this season. I just wasn't enjoying it as much. It takes a lot of time, but I've been impressed with your results over 2 seasons. And yeah, I wanted to pick you in Swift. Obviously, Swift is a budding person. He's already got captain mod, and he's looking to grow his experience in the RSC as well. So I think you'll do a solid job together.
Yeah, I 100% agree because I know Swift on a really tight level. We used to team as well, so we're gonna have the chemistry and gonna make Symbiotes great again.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Great again?
So...
I thought it was already great.
It's amazing, but we're gonna make it even better as well.
No worries,
Because
no worries.
me and Swift will team and do well as well.
I think we've got the wrong guest. We got Donald Trump on or something.
Just going on the subs. Thanks, Form. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Fairy Girl. Appreciate that. But yeah, I've lost track of what I was saying now.
I would have a question, so you can think of what you were saying. Obviously, you've had a great season last season, taking over from Fane, able to bring the franchise into 7th place in the franchise standings. And this season has been a great start. You've started off with getting to 3rd place currently. Are you happy with that, or do you want more?
More. That's what every GM would say. No, every GM would say they want more, and I want more. My teams are amazing. Like there are no standout players in any team. Like they're all working well. They all play with each other. They scrim. They know how they work in and out, week in, week out. Get coaches. They play well, and I'm happy from all my teams. So can't go. I want more. Don't get me wrong, but I believe I have been stiffed over in power rankings multiple times. But I think they're all good teams and know what they're doing.
Well,
don't worry about power rankings. Those are just a guess, and
the power rankings are there for people to
yourself.
prove us wrong at the end of the day.
And that's what I'm doing as a GM.
It should motivate people, not for people to moan, really. But the thing that I saw in chat was, does that make me a free agent? It does technically if I don't renew my contract with Symbiotes, which is something I've discussed with Astrix. I'll stay on the team if I get to pick my team, but obviously if I go elsewhere, I can do. So yeah. What happens with Internet Explorers?
Senshi next season?
Depends what tier I'm in.
Depends what people. If someone wants to take it over from me, I'm happy for someone to take it over if they want it.
I'm
So-
hoping I have offers. I'm hoping I have a Shires and get everyone to offer me a spot. But what was I going to say? What's the future for Internet Explorers? So obviously we have general manager interviews. Obviously Astrix will take my spot and have his interview as Symbiotes, and then Internet Explorers will get took over by a new franchise that will come into RSC. Whoever impresses us in interviews, pretty much. And Boopy's eyes are lighting up there.
Oh,
I can see him
not
glinting in the
completely.
camera.
Oh,
BP, you can always take
Right.
over IX if you want. Take over IX for me.
And rebrands. Don't forget the rebrands.
I'm all right. Your team names aren't even consistent. It's a disgrace. It's diabolical, to be honest.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Astrix. We are going to
Thank you
get
for
on
having
with the weekly awards and stuff, but thanks very much for joining us, and congratulations on taking over my franchise for me.
No problem. Enjoy. Have a good night, you guys.
Good night.
Goodbye. Bye.
Okay, and we'll head straight into the weekly awards. We are aware it's 10:15. We're not usually this late. Technical issues at the start with graphics, but we'll head into weekly awards. And Senji, do you want to go ahead?
Or
So we start with Prospect.
definitely. And in Prospect, we have the MVP being Quack from my team. Nice. With 576.5 points per game. And he was also the highest scoring person with 2 goals a game. With the best shooting accuracy possible, man like got striker. Playmaker was dealt by with Jay with 1.5 assists per game. And Savior of the Week has again been Kwok with 2.25 saves per game. As we are headed into Challenger. And my graphics are loading. Nice, there we go. We've got Flexhook with a staggering 535 points per game, being the MVP this week. And he's also had the most goals with 1.75. In the striker position with 61.1% shooting accuracy, we've got in Fierum as playmaker this week presents itself Araconics, beating out Flexhook and Donut with 1.25 assists per game, and Gandhi Sack taking the crown of the Savior of the Week with 2.29. Heading into Minor, we've got Vampire Squid taking the MVP this week with 531 points per game. And again, the finisher is the same. This time, he's accumulated 2.25 goals per game. In the striker position with 75% shooting accuracy, we've got Copion. As playmaker presents itself Punk with 1.5 assists per game. And Carlos C5 has been crowned the Savior of the Week with 2.75 saves per game. And then we got Major with Bailey and 508 points per game taking the MVP position. And another striker this time, it's Rukia with 2 goals per game. 100% shooting accuracy again, this time achieved by Fane in Major. Nova takes the playmaker crown with 1.17 assists per game and with a staggering 3 saves per game. Getting that savior crown in every game and at the end of this week is Luke Nova. In Elite, we have Matty Moo with 557 points per game as the MVP. Our finisher this week is I'm Stadium 93 with 1.5 goals per game. With 2/3 shooting accuracy, Badger puts away his shots. The best pass maker in this tier has been Laser with 1.5 assists per game. And with Savior, again, over 3.25 saves per game. Great performance by Matty Mumu. And now, for the final tier, Premier, We've got the stats dominated by HP being the MVP with 488 points per game. He's also the finisher with 1.75 goals per game. And not to forget, he doesn't just shoot many goals, he takes as few shots as needed with only 63.64% shooting accuracy. The playmaker this week is Futura with 1.5 assists per game. And a savior gets crowned Kiri with 3.25 saves per game.
And that was your players of the week, guys. And finally, we've got team of the week. And I've just got a few notes on these guys. So, in prospect, it's Quack playing one series and coming in clutch for much needed wins after not winning the first series without him. Same for Flex UK in Challenger. Lost or drew the first series, and then he came in and was MVP for the series that they won. I think that was 4-0. In minor, we've got Pilot Dodge, went 6-2 and got 650 points per game on the stream, where we swept Hydra, who were first and unbeaten when we were second. And in major, we have Bailey pulling off 2 draws and 4,000 plus points in the tier with a roster full of minor sub-ups and still not using the highest player, Cristiano. In Elite, we've got Serve with a 5-3 week, getting in 3 categories for the top weeklies. The only person in Elite to get 4,000 plus points with 4,423. And in Premier, it was HP, who had a brilliant week, topping 3 stats, getting the only win in Premier for his team with a 3-1 win versus Null. And
Great performance by all those guys.
100%. But we hand over to Boopy now, and he gets his hype bit, and it's the Fantasy League standings for the week.
I'm already hyped. I see 2 of my players, but the Fantasy League standings this week in Elite Managers of the Week, we have Darky sitting at the top, followed by Oldham Stee, and then finally followed by Hunter Sam in third. Players of the Week this week, Serve, KO, and I'm Stadium 93. And manager standings, Axlos still is sitting at the top. Darky kind of chasing him for that spot. And we still have B-Shake in third. But moving over to Premier, we have Sky, again, manager of the week, followed by Oldham Steve. He's done a good job, second in both. And Minty sitting in third. Players of the week being HP, Gek, and Kiri. And Sky taking the top spot for manager standings. Minty sitting in second and Anshlo now sitting in third.
I must say I do love Yannick's system for this, because it always backs up our team of the weeks, because we see Serve and HP getting that here as well. But BP, you've been hard at work this week, and we'll just get this screen up for you. Tell us what you're doing with the YouTube and the schedule for it.
I've been hard at work. I've been grinding away, and we've transformed YouTube from it was just me, then it was just me and Axlos. We now have an entire team working on the YouTube. All of the play-ins, playoffs, grand finals, all of that is uploaded, the RSCast episodes, and we are also uploading a series of the week. So that will be announced. This one obviously being Hydra versus Toxin. A huge match for us, again, as Archeon touched on. Both of the casters predicting Toxin to lose that matchup. I won't tell you what happened, but go and watch it on the YouTube. It was a first versus second, a big match. Philip B asking, including commentary. Yep, full including commentary, all edited up nicely on the YouTube. So if you have a good series, you may find yourself being pinged in the Discord and showing yourself on the YouTube. So having said that, I will pass it back on, but big stuff coming from the YouTube.
A big stuff coming from the social media committee in general. We are trying to blow up these socials now. We haven't had them for too long, and we're looking at getting 500 to 1,000 follows within the next few months. We're already at 300 on Twitter, looking to increase giveaways and stuff like that. So fingers crossed. When are the next stream polls? They are coming out instantly as soon as I have talked to Philip in voice chat, and then once I'm free, I can post the polls. I think the streams will be a bit later this week, maybe like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, something like that. I've not actually looked at the doodle yet. But yeah, me working on Mondays just put us back a day pretty much, so it won't be too long before they're out. While we're at the last bit, I just want to thank the sponsor as well, Lunar Organisation, for sponsoring us. Obviously, the £1,000 prize pool in Premiere. Couldn't do it without them, but just head to the caster screens to give our goodbyes. It's been a great night tonight. I've enjoyed it. I wasn't too fussed about coming on initially. I've had one of my down days, but yeah, I've come on and you two have cheered me right up. So here we are after 2 hours nearly, and Senji and Boopy, thanks for joining me.
Thanks
you.
for having us, and have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. And I expect everyone in the chat to be saying "We love Archeon" in the chat. What a character. What a stream. What an RSCast. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
I'm pushing myself to the edge, not wanna go away. Been testing myself by the worst. I've been pushing my mind to the most. I've been loving the people around me, but I'm so paranoid, so paranoid.